You've got a list. You'd probably never call it that. It's not even written down anywhere, but it's there, and you could recite it right now if I asked you to. How her mom talks to you at Christmas. How the sound of the TV left on when he leaves the room makes your brain buzz in the absolute worst way possible. How you keep asking and asking and asking for that thing to happen, and it just never happens, even though they keep promising it'll happen. For sure this week. Or how you really just want Sunday afternoons to yourself. You don't want to be dragged to the pub for the weekly board game situation with friends, and yet you haven't said that out loud. Not once. Every single one of those has been sitting on the list for months, some of them for years. And every time one comes up, you run the math. Is it worth it? Is it worth the conversation, the eyebrow raise, the possibility they get upset, the 3 days of you replaying it afterward, the way you'll definitely say it wrong and then have to explain what you actually meant and probably still be misunderstood anyway? And the answer is always no. It's never worth it. Not this time. Maybe next time. Maybe. So it goes back on the list. And the list gets a little heavier. And then one Tuesday, it's a dish left on top of the dishwasher instead of being put in the dishwasher. And you completely lose it. And everyone, including you, thinks the problem is the dish. But deep down, we know it's not the dish, right? Here's the thing. You're not avoiding the conversation because you're a coward. You're avoiding what feels like the inevitable fallout the conversation will lead to. So you've been trying to figure out the perfect thing to say, and when to say it, and how to bring it up, and what to wear. I'm kidding about the what to wear part. Well, I mean, sort of. You keep waiting for the right moment and the right words, but that moment never seems to happen. Those words never seem to materialize. And little by little, you let it slide until you have an absolute meltdown and start the cycle all over again. So today, I'm just going to hand you the words, actual sentences. Copy them, make them sound like you, write them down, read them aloud to your partner. Let's start tackling that list, shall we? This is the Neurodivergent Love Lab. I'm Jenna Dalton, a psychologist who's both autistic and ADHD. I help ADHD, autistic, and ADHD women feel truly understood and deeply loved. And this is episode 19, the conversation you've rehearsed 100 times and still haven't had. Today, I'm going to give you 10 scripts, dissect the anatomy of why they work, and show you how to use them without sounding totally inauthentic or like a robot reading off a cue card. If you're driving right now, tackling your to-do list, getting ready for work, or just being neurodivergent and doing all the things all at the same time, don't worry. You don't have to write anything down. Everything I say today is going to be in a free guide, and at the end of today's episode, I'll tell you where to get it. So let's talk about why scripts and why they're not cheating. Let me clear something up first, because a lot of people get squeamish about the word script. It feels fake. It feels like you're being manipulative or robotic or inauthentic. So let's just look at the facts. You already script. You script constantly. You script the phone call to the dentist. You script the thing you're going to say to your boss. You script the small talk pickup. You've been running an entire rehearsal department in your head since you were about 5 years old. And it's one of the main reasons nobody ever caught your neurodivergence. Because you were so well prepared. Because of the scripts. You never thought that was dishonest. It was just how you got through life. So all I'm asking today is that you point that same skill at your relationship. And here's the reason it works so well for brains like ours. The hard part was never knowing what you wanted. You know what you want. The hard part is composing language in real time while you're preoccupied with what your face is doing. And then you see their face doing that thing. And then you're side questing because you can't focus. And the next thing you know, you didn't even say what you wanted to say, but you're walking away awkwardly laughing like you meant for it to go that way. You don't have to come up with what to say on the fly. In fact, I'm often telling my clients to not do this. I'm often saying, write down what you want to say and read it to your partner. Take away having to come up with the right words on the spot, and the whole thing gets about 4 times easier. A script isn't a performance, it's scaffolding. It's allowing you to get your point across in the way you intended. Now, one more piece before I give you the scripts, because it's what makes all of them work so well. Let's talk about the anatomy of the scripts. Every good script has 4 parts, and you can build your own scripts once you know them. Part 1, the frame. Here you set the stage to help ensure you're actually heard. Not just listened to, heard. And this is the piece almost everyone skips, but it's the most important one. A person who feels accused can't hear anything else you say, and they'll immediately go into defensive mode, ready to litigate for the next 45 minutes. So tell them up front, I'm not blaming you. I want to talk about something that's hard for me and help you understand why. Part 2, the observation. This is where you talk about what happened with no blame game attached. Not, you don't care about my time. That's pointing a finger and they will defend against it. We're back into litigation territory. And now you're arguing about whether they care instead of about the thing you really want to focus on. So just talk about the facts and focus on you. When plans change last minute, I have a really hard time with it. Simple, factual. Part 3, the need. You want this to be concrete, small, and actually doable. I need you to be more considerate is not a need. It's a personality review. I need a heads up text as soon as the plans change instead of being told when I show up. That's a concrete need because your partner can actually do that thing. They don't know what to do when you say, I need you to be more considerate. There's no clear next step. So give them a clear next step. Part 4, the close. Next, ask a question, suggest a swap, say thank you, something that moves the idea forward. So we have frame, observation, need, and the close. That's the format. It's how I've crafted the scripts coming up and what you can use to craft your own scripts. And one more thing, one more rule to follow. Well, I shouldn't call it a rule to follow, especially if you have some demand avoidance. One more thing to consider. Timing. You're a smart cookie, so you know how to check on your partner's capacity and bring this up when the timing is more ideal. Not perfect, but better than mid-fight or right before bed or in the car on the way to that important family get-together. And please don't open with, we need to talk, which every human nervous system on earth translates as, brace yourself, I'm about to drop a bomb on your lap. Okay, let's dive into the 10 scripts. Take what works for you, change what doesn't, and say it in your own words. And remember, you don't have to write any of this down. I will link to the guide in the show notes and tell you how to get the guide at the end of this episode. Okay, script number 1. I need time alone, and it isn't about you. Here's what this looks like. I want to tell you something about how I recharge because I don't think I've ever explained it properly. After a big day or a social thing, I need a stretch of time by myself before I've got anything left to give anyone. It's not about you, and it's not about us. It's the opposite, actually. It means I feel safe enough with you to stop performing. I feel safe enough to say, I need some alone time. Can we build that in on Sundays so it doesn't have to be a whole negotiation every week? Script number 2. Here's what my silence means. I want to tell you something about what happens to me in hard conversations while we're calm and I can actually explain it. Sometimes I go quiet. My throat closes and the words don't come out. I know it looks like I've checked out or like I'm punishing you with the silent treatment. That's not the case. I'm still here. I just can't get the words out. If it happens, can you please not push me to talk or ask more questions right then? Give me some time and I promise I'll come back to you. I just need to let myself process silently for a bit. Script number 3. I have sensory needs, i.e. I can hear electricity and the lights are too bright and that tag is driving me bananas and sometimes it's all just so overwhelming. Can I ask for something? The overhead light in here genuinely hurts my brain. It's not a preference. It's more like static in my head that just won't shut off. Would you mind if we use the lamps instead? I know it seems like a small thing, but it makes a huge difference to me. And here's an intimacy version because that's the one that often gets swept under the rug. We often don't put a neurodivergent lens on the intimacy experience. It's not that I don't want you to touch me. The way you sometimes lightly touch me can be really hard for me. Firmer touch that I can see coming feels so much better. Can you please do that instead? Notice the swap at the end of both of those. It gives your partner somewhere to go. Just saying, I don't like that, stop doing it, that doesn't give them an alternative. This gives them clear next steps that feel doable. Whenever you can, don't just end with, don't do that. Follow it up with, please do this instead. Script 4, the early flag, raise it while it's still small. This is the one that stops a small thing from growing and growing and growing. So please use it before it turns into a monster. Hi, this is a small ask and I'm mentioning it now so it doesn't turn into a big deal later. I don't like people using my hairbrush. It feels icky and I end up in a bad mood for the rest of the day. Could you please bring your own brush over to my place so you don't have to use mine? Thank you. The framing there is doing something clever. I'm mentioning it now so it doesn't become big later. That tells your partner that this is you taking care of the relationship, not you trying to start something. Most partners respond really well to that because it's true and it's relationship deepening rather than relationship breaking. Script 5. I need processing time. I want to give you a real answer instead of a quick one, and right now I'd be making something up. Can I have until tomorrow morning to process this? I'm not avoiding it. Let's talk over coffee tomorrow, okay? And this is the important bit, go to them tomorrow morning. Don't wait for them to raise it. You bring it up. That's what makes this a tool instead of a delay tactic. And it's what builds the trust that lets you use it again next time. Script 6, talking about that mental load without starting a war. This is a tricky one because there's usually a lot of resentment stacked underneath it. And if the resentment leads, it turns into a fight about who does more, which nobody has ever won. Who has ever won that fight? Here's what you can say. There's a thing I'm carrying that I don't think is visible, and I want to make it visible rather than be annoyed about it quietly. It's not the tasks, it's the remembering. Knowing when the school forms are due, when we're out of toilet paper, whose birthday is coming up. These kinds of things are running through my head all the time, and it's genuinely exhausting. Can we sit down and pick 2 or 3 things where you own the remembering, not just the doing, not just the task, so they can leave my brain entirely? That last bit is the key. You're not asking for help with tasks. You're asking to hand over the entire file, the remembering and the doing. Otherwise, you're still the manager, and being the manager is the tiring part, right? 7, getting out of a social thing without a fight. I want to be honest with you instead of doing what I usually do, which is going and then being wrecked for 2 days. I don't have it in me this weekend. It's not about your friends. I like your friends. It's about my capacity. Can you please go without me? And can we do something just the 2 of us on Sunday? Honest, specific, no apology for existing, and it comes with an offer. That combination is very hard to be upset with. Script 8, repair after you snapped. I want to apologize about last night. I'm sorry about how I said it. The tone was not great, and I own that. I'm not sorry that I was upset, but I am sorry about how I acted. Can I tell you what was actually going on for me? Own the delivery, but keep the feeling. Both matter. If you only do the first half, owning the delivery, you teach both of you that your reactions are noise. When you vocalize that your feelings still matter, you can apologize for the reaction, not for having a feeling. Script 9, asking for feedback in a way that doesn't get you deep into I am the worst human ever territory. This is the rejection sensitivity script, and it's one of the most useful things you'll ever hand a partner. I want to be someone you can tell things to, and I've realized that how it arrives makes an enormous difference to whether I can actually hear it. If you tell me something's bothering you out of nowhere when I'm already tired, my brain reads it as an emergency and I can't take it in. Could we do it like this instead? Give me a heads up that you want to talk about something. Pick a time when we both have the capacity to talk about it and lead with a specific thing rather than something general about me. That's not me asking you to walk on eggshells. It's actually the opposite. It's me trying to make it possible for you to tell me stuff. Script number 10. When they say you're overthinking it. I know it looks like overthinking from the outside. Here's what it actually is. I pick up on a lot more than most people all the time, and I can't really turn it off. So when I notice something, it's usually genuinely there, even if it's small. What I need isn't for you to agree with my interpretation. I just need you to not tell me I imagined it. If you tell me what was actually going on for you, I can let it go. When you tell me I'm overthinking, my brain just keeps working on it. That one's important because your overthinking is the exact sentence that trained you to overrule your own intuition in the first place. You're allowed to push back on it. Okay, so how the heck do you use these without sounding like a robot? Here are some tips. Rewrite them in your own words before you use them. Read each one out loud. Yes, out loud. That's important, not just in your head. Anything that doesn't sound like you, change it. If you know you'd never say, shoot me a text, change that. Practice these out loud. Again, yes, out loud. You'll feel ridiculous. Do it anyway. The gap between having a sentence in your head and being able to produce it while your heart is going thump, 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 that's a physical gap, and rehearsal helps close it. Start with the easiest one on your list, not the biggest. Don't go after the big guy. Build evidence with your nervous system that this works before you use it on the hard one. As I often like to joke with my clients, exposure therapy doesn't start with putting the tarantula on your head. We start with just thinking about the tarantula. Don't push yourself way outside your comfort zone on your first go. And use them when you're calm. All 10 of these are meant to be used in a calm space. None of them will work in the middle of a fight. And if you try, they'll probably come out sideways and you'll conclude scripts don't work. They do work. They just work before or after, not during a fight. Okay, as promised, let's get these scripts into your hands, shall we? You can get them at jennadalton.com/scripts. That's jennadalton.com/scripts. Or you can just click the link in the show notes. I've included the format so you can build your own scripts and the 10 scripts that we talked about today. Go grab it and start using your natural tendency to rehearse to help you out here. Okay, here's what I want you to take with you. That list you've been carrying, the one with the 11 things you've never said out loud, it's not evidence you're difficult or dramatic or hard to be with. It's evidence of how many times you decided that keeping the peace mattered more than being understood. And I get why you decided that. Every single time you decided it for a reason that made sense at the time. But the peace you bought with all those swallowed conversations, that's not real peace. It's self-abandonment wrapped up in a keep the peace package. So let's stop abandoning your needs, okay? So pick one, just one off the list, the easiest one. Take one of these scripts, rewrite it in your own words, practice it in the car until it feels like you, and then say it out loud this week to the person you love. And remember, they love you, and handing them away to love you better is a gift for them. We like to think that love means intuiting what your partner needs, but true love, authentic love, long-lasting love is being honest and direct and giving your partner an easy-to-read map of how to love you better. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Remember, you deserve to feel truly understood and deeply loved. I'll talk to you soon.